in terms of a stimulus to get customers coming back, there's different schools of thought in that customers may wait for a stimulus package before making that decision, and we want to be responsible for kickstarting our industry ourselves. So we will push on in the ways that we've spoken about through getting the showrooms open, getting those customers whose vehicles were sold to them but they got caught up in the lockdown handed over to them. But to have a stimulus package, we would say it definitely needs to be around CO2 and not just ultra low emission vehicles. There are some really good ICE vehicles now with low CO2, so that would encourage customers to go into lower CO2 vehicles and ultra low emission vehicles, and then to have a cap on that value, because it needs to help the people who need the help the most, and that's what we're working with and putting into government alongside industry colleagues, and that debate is finishing at the moment.
So what appetite do you think there is in the government to help the automotive industry with a scheme like this?
I think they recognise the automotive is a key part of getting the economy moving. So I think they're interested in the discussion. Whether they will ultimately support it, I don't know, but I think it absolutely needs to be still around the environmental credentials that we've been working to as an industry. As you know, within PSA, we've achieved our CO2 targets every month since January. We're committed to that in terms of making sure that we do contribute to that reduction in CO2 as our part and part of the industry. And so therefore, I think anything the government decide needs to be absolutely still linked to those decisions and those measures that we made, or those commitments we made before we got into COVID-19. They won't go away just because we've had the crisis that we've had. And so it's right that any support is given linked to that.
We were chatting to Jaguar Land Rover's boss, Rawdon Glover, last week on a similar topic. He said he would like to see a package put in place by July, so he could plan for it. When would you like to see something put in place along these lines?
Yeah, it links to what we've been saying as an industry, in that, if you're coming out of lockdown, there will be some pent-up demand in terms of customers who are making the decision at the point went into lockdown, and we've got customer vehicles that are due to be handed over. So you might think there's a little rally in terms of the market, but then it'll get really difficult, I think, influenced by the economic factors around us and outside of our businesses. So the 1st of July was a suggestion, and it would link to obviously the September car market. However, what I would say is any decision would need to be made sooner rather than later, because if people and customers think there is a stimulus package, then that won't help us in terms of getting the industry started. And we've seen that in some of the other countries where the rumour of a stimulus package has been discussed, but it's gone on for some weeks. All it's done is actually dampen down any market that we've got. So we need to be responsible for this ourselves as well, and get our part of the economy moving.